Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strawberry Hill Podcast. I appreciate you guys coming back and listening in. We are on episode 2.
Yeah.
It's good to be here, man.
Yes.
Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can catch up on all of our content. And I appreciate you guys that already did. On today's episode, we have Mr. Tyrone Weaver. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I
gotta
appreciate
shake the
you
hand,
for having
man.
me.
Got to shake the hand. It's a good man. We just met, man.
Yeah, we did, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Ever since I've walked in this building, you treated me like family, man. So I appreciate
That's
you for
what
sure.
it's all about here. So if you didn't know, we are at the Shop Cigar Lounge. I'm a little biased because I think it's the best cigar lounge in the city.
Me too.
So if you haven't been here, check it out. So today we're kind of going to be talking about, get to know you, Tyrone, and kind of what it means to invest in our youth and invest in the community that we live in.
Sounds good.
And I think that's kind of what you're all about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is my DNA for sure.
So before we get started, let's get to know a little bit about you, man. Let's hear about Tyrone.
Well, first of all, I'm married. Been with my wife for a while. Love of my life. 2 beautiful sons. Came from North Carolina. Was blessed to receive a scholarship offer from Fort Scott. Came here to play ball.
Where at North Carolina?
I'm from Hickory, North Carolina. It's about 20, 30 minutes out from Charlotte. Moved here after I graduated high school. Went to Fort Scott. After Fort Scott, left there and went to Emporia State.
So you played football?
Football, yeah. So that's where I met my wife at Emporia State. And we've been together ever since. Moved to Kansas City about 2013, and I just fell in love with it, man. I saw the progression. I seen the growth. And now I'm planting my feet in the youth sector here, and I'm just hitting the ground running, man.
Yeah.
So
tell me what it was like growing up in North Carolina.
it was great. It was a blessing and a curse because, where people saw the negativity, we didn't see it because that was our home, right?
So what negativity is that?
Just gangs and, the daily things that people in poverty deal with, right? So going from having to be at the bus stop to where that was the main spot for all the boys doing what they do to support their families to, getting bussed out to a rich area where I went to school. So like I said, the blessing and the curse, I was able to see the other side as I was in school, but when I came home, I was back to that negative environment. So it was like a family, because everybody's grandmothers was at each side of the neighborhood holding us accountable. So that's kind of why I, hold kids accountable the way I do from my upbringing.
So growing up in North Carolina, you said you moved here when you were what age?
When I moved to Kansas City, which was 2013, I left home at 2007.
Yeah. So why'd you move here?
This is where my wife was from, man, and Kansas City was always intriguing to me because I would come down and I would only go downtown to P&L, right? So coming from a small coming from a small town and going to something like that, man, I was hooked. Like just seeing all the excitement. And then once I moved here, I started to really move around in the city and KCK area to where I started to see the kids and the beauty in the city that nobody got to see, which is in the area that we're in from 5th Street on to the 80s. I saw beauty and I just wanted to plant my feet in the ground out here, man.
So before we get into the youth stuff, I want to go back to your parents because I know you told me when we first met that they're both deaf, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me about that because that just seems like you had to grow up at a young age, having both parents deaf, you having to be the man in the house, doing a lot of stuff. Tell me about that.
You are correct. Like, I don't know if you ever encountered a deaf person, they are very territorial. And the same with my mom. Like she like kept me close, but she didn't want to keep me too close. So it was more so if she saw me with the wrong people, she would snatch me up in front of everybody, right? And having a deaf mom, I had to grow up early because I became the eyes and the ears for her, right? I became the ears and the mouth. I had to call companies, to get the lights on or whatever it may be. But it taught me to be resilient, right? Because when like some people take things for granted, like being able to call your parent on the phone without FaceTiming, that's convenient, right? So you can call anytime, and FaceTime, I can't FaceTime and drive all the time, right? So I had to adapt in a way that other people couldn't. And I had to develop integrity early because I could sneak out if I wanted to without my mom hearing, or I could really screw myself up. So I had to really have some self-accountability early that I didn't know I had, right? So it just kind of made me grow up early, and my dad wasn't in the picture. So it was just me and my mom growing up. She worked her butt off to get us out of our neighborhood that we stayed in, and then we moved in a better area. And I was only there for so many years. Like we moved there when I was 16, and then that's when I turned 17. I graduated high school, and I've been here ever since. So, you know, it was good. It was a blessing and a curse, because now, like with my sign language upbringing, I was able to go and teach at the Kansas School for the Deaf and implement programs there and just be a light in that community as well. So, I mean, having a deaf parent kind of molded me and made me a little stronger and resilient. So
dad was in the picture. Okay, so dad wasn't deaf. I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah, he is deaf. He
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom and dad both were deaf. My dad just, you know, he chose what he chose, you know, and that's why he taught me how to be a great father. I don't miss anything with my kids because of what I went through as a kid. So it's a blessing and a curse. That's why.
When we go through those hard times and we kind of find those things that we pick out, you know, through those hard times, like we ain't gonna be like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you played football. You played college football, right?
Yes, I did.
So you went to Fort Scott 1st. So tell me about that. 'Cause I know there's a lot of meat there that you just skipped over.
Man, Fort Scott was, I wasn't ready for it. Because when I left home at 17, we drove from North Carolina to Kansas City, 5 of us, we had a Chrysler 300 that we rented. We strapped our luggage to the top of the car, man. And when I tell you I seen 5 seasons on one drive, like it snowed, it rained.
That's that Kansas weather.
Yeah. So, and then I got to Fort Scott. We pulled up like 2 a.m. and I walked in the restroom. I was like, oh, I'm going back home.
So why Fort Scott?
They were the only ones who gave me a chance. I blew everything else.
So what do you mean by that?
I didn't take life serious in the beginning. I didn't understand how important school was and grades and being a good person and relationships. I didn't understand what relationships meant at that time. I lost all my scholarships, and I kind of put myself back in the statistic of not being successful because of my attitude and what I knew. That's the only thing I knew, right? People would go to college and come home and not complete it, or they would be the best in the community, but their grades were terrible. Or they hung with the wrong people. And I did everything everybody did. So Fort Scott gave me a chance. He called me up and said, hey, it was a Thursday night. He said, be here by Sunday. Coach Jeff Simmons changed my life. Good dude. He was hard on me, but he pulled something out of me that I still use to this day, and that's the passion. Like, if you want it, and we talked about this, if you want it, you can go get it.
You can do anything. You just got to have the grit to go do it.
He gave me the grit. That's the word I was looking for, the grit. He gave it to me. He pulled it out of me, I should say.
So I went to Independence, fellow Jayhawk Conference alum. I don't know what Independence was like when you were there, but
they were good.
We were not good.
The whole conference is dogs, you know, good conference.
You can say that. I appreciate it. But when I was going through, our team was not dogs. Like I told you, we played Coffeyville. We got beat 86-0. That was a big eye opener.
I didn't experience a loss that big.
It was tough. So you're at Fort Scott. How long were you there for?
So I was there a year and a half. And like I told you, not going anywhere as a kid, we never went out to eat. We never got to go on trips. So this was my first big trip, like away from home.
So did you travel with the family?
No, I traveled with my friends that got recruited with me.
Oh, so y'all all in the same area getting recruited.
Yeah, so
at least you had some people you knew going on.
I did. I had
when I went to
friends.
Independence, I didn't know a damn soul. It is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like 4 of us. We all went up there together. And we kind of helped each other through the process. I mean, it was like I said, being that far away, I cried almost every night for 2 weeks. And it wasn't like a scared cry. It was it was almost like you can't lose. You can't fail. So get out what you need to behind the scenes, but wake up in the morning stronger than ever. And that's what I did. Like after that second week, I just got up and I got to it. Like
what position you play?
Defensive end. Competing with Jason Pierre-Paul every day. Levante David, like these are dogs that's still in the NFL, Hall of Famers eventually. So, at that time, the Jayhawk conference had 12 out of stater rule. Yeah. We had 200. Yeah. So he got to cut that down, right? Yeah. So trying to figure out, and then he cut me, right? So
this I got your first year?
First year I got cut. And
was JPP there your first year?
He's the reason why I got cut.
I can see why.
Yeah. Before he got there, I was a front runner. I was a dog. And then I remember the day he came on campus, coach said, he introduced us. He said, get comfortable because y'all gonna battle. So I can't be mad. It just wasn't for me. But fast forward to Emporia State, I left Fort Scott to go to Emporia State. And the reason why I chose Emporia because they brought every coach to meet me. 12 coaches around the table. Everybody who comes recruit you, they normally bring 1 or 2 guys. I walk in and they got 12 coaches. They showed me love. That's why I chose Emporia. So
you're forgetting stuff. I'm not gonna let you swing by this. So Fort Scott, you left Fort Scott.
I did.
Why'd you leave?
Because they cut me.
Why'd they cut you?
Because the numbers, man. A guy named Arvell Nelson came in from the University of Cincinnati who could play dual. He was a safety and a quarterback. So my backup was decent. So he was like, the only thing to do is let me go. Yeah. And it was tough.
So you left just because you wanted another playing opportunity?
Yes.
So you went to Emporia State, right?
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Emporia was everything I needed. It was small enough. It was big enough, right? So I went to Emporia because I was upset. And once he cut me, I literally ran out the room and I gave Emporia a call right in that moment. Like, hey, I want to come. I want to sign. Come get me. So he was like, all right, well, give me a couple days to figure things out. And at that time, I didn't even tell my head coach. I didn't tell Coach Simmons. Emporia came and got me, and the rest was history. I went up there, but I still had the wrong mindset, right? I went to Emporia like I was the D1 athlete and the dog that I was, which I was, but I didn't understand team because Fort Scott was individual because you had to get yours. Yeah. So I got the Emporia with that same mindset. Like, I got to get mines, right? So I went up there and I kept acting like I was still back in North Carolina, right? I got a car, put the rims on it, put the loud system in it, right?
What kind of car?
Grand Marquis, gold, in Emporia, Kansas, right?
Stick out like a sore thumb.
I did not know at the time that I was just creating a target on my back. So they would just keep consistently messing with me, and my lifestyle didn't add up with football.
What do you mean by who keeps messing with
you? The law enforcement. Gotcha. So the officers, it stuck out, right? My car stuck out like a sore thumb. I got identified as a group of people that I was not. I was a college football player, but I looked like one of the, looked like a thug. I looked like a hoodlum. So Emporia took care of me. My coaches, they took care of me, but they also didn't let me become a cancer. Like I said, I was very talented. I was there. I was killing. My numbers were good, but I didn't know how to treat authority. I didn't know how to respect people. Yeah. So my coaches had to make the decision going into my sophomore year to cut me from the team.
Your sophomore year?
Yeah, going into my sophomore year. Emporia kicked me off the team.
So this is the second time you've gone through something similar.
Second time.
So you get cut from the team. So what are you thinking then?
I thought my life was over. Once again, I was like, okay, I'm going to be like everybody else, another statistic who go away to college and come back home. So at that moment, I had to figure out that pride was my biggest downfall. So I decided to put my pride to the side, and I went to my coaches, and I low-key begged them. I cried in front of them. I showed them vulnerability. I opened up. I told them why I was acting how I was acting. I didn't know. I told them I didn't have any other options. I pleaded, and they put me on this program that has forever changed my life. At the time, it was called the Red Folder Program, where from 5 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m., I had to be accountable. They had to know exactly where I was.
5 a.m.
to 8 p.m. They had to know exactly where I was. Mm-hmm. And when I went to class, I had to be in the front 2 rows. And I had to like, there was some criteria in there where I had to be nice to people. Like I didn't know it was setting me up to be the man I am today. And still when I go back to the school and they like, hey, this is the guy, the reason why we started this program and now I'm successful. I didn't know Emporia was going to be the key to success. I met my wife there, had my first son there. And let's rewind it back. After they let me back on the team, I then had to come to them and tell them I had a child on the way.
Ooh. How old were you when you had your first child?
Man, going into my sophomore year. So I was like 21.
So you had to grow up quick.
On top of everything else, right? Like on top of dealing with the childhood trauma, on top of dealing with a new environment, on top of trying to be a new father and be faithful to a woman and learn how to deal with women. It was like stressful.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, so you grow up in a not so great neighborhood, North Carolina, right? Your mom is deaf. Your dad is out of the picture. He's deaf. Mm-hmm. You go to Fort Scott, the middle of nowhere. You just pick up, pretty much go. Get kicked off or get cut. Go to Emporia. Get cut. Beg and plead, Red Folder Program. Having a kid on the way. Now, what in the... Now, normally, people that go through that much would just quit, right? So what is different in you that made you keep going?
I did, though. I did quit. And that was the thing. Like, I tried to keep navigating through life like I was okay, and then COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So I quit, but I was still moving because I had the gym and I had other things to do that kind of it made it look like I was being productive.
Yeah, but I guess you didn't quit because you're still working at it.
Yeah, I was at the time before COVID, I was just moving, and I was keeping myself busy so I couldn't focus on the negative. But when COVID hit, I was sitting with all of that stuff that I never fixed, right? Mm-hmm. So my dad not being there, my mom being deaf, me getting cut 2 times, 3 times, right? Me getting cut, me having a child, not knowing how to deal with it. Like I mentally quit. Then when COVID hit, I completely quit. And that's when I started focusing on mental health. And it was hard not to quit because I didn't have any influences like you or anybody to call and be like, hey, bro, what do I do? Like, I'm suffering right now. I didn't know how to do that. I couldn't even do that with my wife. I didn't know how to do that. So I just started listening to E.T. and Inky Johnson and all those guys and Jeremy Anderson, Darius Daniels. And I just kept picking up these little things from these guys and implementing it in my life. And as I was getting to the best I've ever been physically and mentally, my grandmother passed.
Just life
hit me right back.
Keeps
right?
hitting you, yeah.
It just keeps hitting you. It hit me. My grandmother passed. And that's fast forward from COVID. I got out of that rut, right? Now we're sitting at 2022. I'm feeling the best I've ever felt. Things are going well. I got a college coaching job.
What year were you?
This was after I graduated in Emporia. So when I moved in 2013, I moved here. I got a coaching job at Mid-America Nazarene. Mm-hmm.
And then when did your grandma pass?
She just passed last year.
Okay.
So from college coaching from 13 to about 8 years, I was through that journey. from graduating college, I was growing and moving. And then I felt like it was something always haunting me. Like when you get to the top of the mountain, something bad happens and knocks you off. That the next step. And it's crazy because I was like, I'm feeling too great. And when I said that, like, as the weeks went on, my grandmother passed.
Yeah.
So then I dropped right back to everything I knew. Like, I got back in that space, right? We go back to what we know, that painful place. So I went back there, and then my little cousin, I called him my little brother, but he's so close to me. He passed. Like, maybe a few months or close to a year later, he died. So it put me deeper. And now we're talking 2022 to this past 2023 to January year. So I'm right back in that space.
So this might be a tough question, but what does rock bottom look like for you? Because it sounds like that you've been there a couple times.
Yeah, rock bottom looked like mean, angry. I cut the world off. When you get to a place of where you don't love yourself, and that's what it looked like. I didn't love myself. I was falling to my vices. You know what I mean? Like I was angry. I was drinking a lot. You know, I was masking the pain, and I quit my job. Literally walked out of my job. And
where were you at?
I was at Unified Government, working for Parks and Rec, and that was the lowest I've ever been. And I walked in my boss's office and I quit. Just like I can't do it. Like I'm at rock bottom. I gotta go. So I took that time, and when I tell you it was the toughest thing, but my wife, she stood in there. She didn't judge me. She held me. When I needed to be held, she cried with me when I needed to cry. Like, but she also was like, all right, bro. Like,
get your ass up and do something.
All right, bro. Look, I love you, but bro, it's time. And I felt it. So I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, all right, bro, one day at a time. And ever since that moment, when I looked at myself in the mirror, people like you have been coming along, and Max Mendoza and all these positive people.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for real. I told my wife after I sat with you, I was like, man, I've only been to his place 2 times, and the conversations with you helps me. Like meeting people like you, and now I understand that relationships can get you out of dark places.
Yeah, for sure.
So how I got out of my dark place was relationships. Good people like you, bringing me along the way. You didn't have to bring me here, but you did because you saw something in me. So I appreciate you for that. For real.
You got a fire in you that you just keep going. You just don't care how tough it is. You just keep going.
I can't quit.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, resilient, man. Like you said, everything, I'm not supposed to be here, but I am, because I chose not to quit. And even when I did quit, now, like you told, there's no quit. We had this conversation.
Yeah, it's like, what I told you is failure. It's not that it's an option. I just don't accept it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not failing. If you fail it, that means you're accepting failure.
Yeah.
I don't accept failure. Failure is just another way of saying, or like figuring out, like, I just can't do it that way again.
Right.
Like, that's how I look at failure.
Yeah.
Like,
see, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if something doesn't work, okay, I just can't do it that way.
Yeah.
Because if I accept it, that means I'm accepting failure. I'm accepting depression that comes with it. I'm accepting everything else.
That's deep.
I don't do that. I just look at it like, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's try it a different way this time.
Yeah. And I developed that from those dark places, right? I thought it was quitting at the time, but I didn't know it was building up resiliency. I didn't know failure was not an option. You know, you hear that cliche thing, but until you develop the mindset that we have now, you're going to think failure is the number one option.
Yeah.
And for me now, with the mindset that I've built, my peace is valuable. So I don't let people come in and disturb it, because you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've did to get out of this dark place in the bottom, because it seems like now in 2023 that place is home for a lot of people. And that's why I go so hard, because I don't want people to understand there's no failure. Yeah. You just gotta plan, like we talked about. You gotta keep going, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to keep going, but it's harder to sit in the dark place, because eventually you can't see where you're about to head, and you just go off the cliff, and it's too late.
If you don't see no light, then you just stay there.
It's too late. Right.
So after football, how did you get into where you're at now? Like, because you worked at Unified Government. What were you doing at Unified Government?
I was I got hired as a special populations coordinator.
That's a big title. What does that mean?
So running the Special Olympics here in KCK, the KCK Kings. Shout out to them, man. Great program. But I just ran all the sports for people with disabilities. I did that, and then I did everything other than sports, like Christmas dances, Valentine's Day. I just provided a safe place for people with disabilities in our community. Yeah. So it was a great job. I loved it.
It sounds very rewarding.
It was, man. And not only that, with my coaching background, my group, my Special Olympic team, you see us coming, we diving on the floor. Our boys we're diving on the floor. We getting rebounds, squeezing it. I mean, I like you said, I didn't want them to accept it. It's not a disability. It's just something you have that's unique to you. Yep. So instead of saying disability, no, you just have something unique that makes you who you are. And I just had everybody develop that, from my volunteers to my athletes. So
you go from doing that, then you leave, and then now what?
And I left there because of the deep place I got in, and I just did some soul searching. And I started in 2017. Me and my wife started this nonprofit called We Fit Sports. We Fit Sports.
Yes. Everybody remember that. Go check it out.
Please do. Yeah. We Fit Sports. So basically we help the whole athlete, right? I realized that I couldn't be the best athlete I was because my mental health was not correct. So I just started focusing on the mental health and athletes. And over those years from 17 to now, it has been a slow grind. It's been just me and my wife. And over the years, I just started working with kids who would self-sabotage themselves and didn't know it, right? It's like when you're about to make that play, you overthink it and you don't make the play, right? So I started to train them mentally for the sport and physically for the sport. That's why I say we fit. It came from we collectively. It takes a community to build a fit kid, right? So when I say fit, I'm not talking about social. I'm not talking about physical. I'm talking about social, emotional. You got to know how to do. You got to be a good son, a great brother, a great teammate. You got to be coachable. So giving them those tools from my failure, and that's why I go so hard for this, because like you said, I didn't have any strong males in my life. My uncles were there, but they were focusing on finding their way. And that's why now I help kids find their way through social emotional learning. And that's just how I've, worked my butt off to help kids. That's all I care about.
So you got into We Fit Sports, or you started We Fit Sports, right? So how did that correlate with you working with the Chiefs? I'm gonna bring up all your accomplishments. Yeah, I don't think you're going to, but I'm going to.
I appreciate it. It's so like I said, my life has been so fast paced. Sometimes you forget the journey, right? And that's what I'm trying to really do, like put my journey in order and love it, right? Because it's not a journey, it's a testimony. And that's so how I got with the Chiefs. My good friend Brent Lewis, shout out to Brent Lewis, man, he's a KCK native. He went to Schlegel, and we met at Fort Scott. He was a fullback there. And I was a DN. We met a lot in the hole. Yeah, we used to hit a lot. But nah, man, we connected here in Kansas City, man, and we were connecting through the coaching scene. And he's just a great man of God, man, and he followed what God told him is to reach out to me. And he just builds great connections. He's a great person. And the Chiefs reached out to him, and he's been working with them for a few years. And they asked if he know any good people, and he recommended me. And like I said, I care about who recommends me, and I know his name was on the line. So every time I go, I give it my all for him, so I don't make his name look bad. But yeah, Brent Lewis got me in with the Chiefs, man. And ever since then, it's just been a no-brainer. They love us up there, me and Brent, and we just keep rolling, man.
So that leads you to Heartland 180, right?
Yes.
So tell me about that journey, because I know Max real well. Shout out to Max. Good people.
Max, great guy.
So how did you get started with that program? And tell me what the program is, too.
So Heartland 180 is, I call it the boots on the ground. Like where there's a need, we're feeling it. Like we are there in this community. Max, his journey, he didn't use his mistakes. He just flipped it and turned it into something positive and triumphant. So Heartland 180 is a boots on the ground organization. We go into schools, we teach kids how to identify their emotions, how to deal with themselves, how to have empathy for people. So it's very important. We also teach growing into manhood for Black African-American young men, which we just graduated a class with. Powerful, man. So we're just teaching kids how to identify their emotions, how to find their dark places and turn the light on. Right. So I got connected with Max, man. Oh, crazy story, man.
We're here.
So
We're here.
Mr. Nathaniel Banks, right? He was another pillar in the community who cared about the kids.
Yeah.
And he hired me in 2013 as just a program aid driver for the probation office.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to get jobs and work, hustling. So I'm a program aid. I'm driving kids from probation to this, to that. And I used to take the time to talk to the kids, like, "Hey, man, you gotta do better. You gotta," and like these were some of the toughest kids in Kansas City, and they started requesting Mr. Banks to talk to me. So he pulled me in for a meeting, and we talked, and he wanted to hire me full time. So he wanted to introduce me to Max. So Max came to a meeting. We met with Mr. Banks, and then when I was about to get hired on full time, Mr. Banks passed away. So Max took over H180. I got reconnected with Max. And then I started to just do part-time work with him. And I just seen the work he put in, man.
I mean, works.
He does, man. And I know the passion and I know the story. So I was like, look, bro, I'm going to jump on full-time and I'm going to make sure. Because he's been one of those guys. When I was down, I could call Max Mendoza and he would help me get out of that place. And I told him, like, bro, I'm going to step over here and help you grow this thing that you've been putting your whole life into and just bring my passion and just help you grow it. So that's how I got with Max Mendoza and Heartland 180. And I love everything we do. I go into schools, I go into jails, and we're just mentoring kids and just giving them that passion, man, and helping them identify their wins and losses and helping them identify and say there's no failures.
So is it just a Wyandotte County thing?
Yes,
180?
yes. We're in Wyandotte County, but we're trying to get in Missouri. I think he does things. I mean, Leavenworth, he's been all over, man. So we're trying to expand that web, and you know, we always got to have good people to do it. Because in this job, you got to have integrity. You can't have somebody looking over your shoulder because we move a lot. So you got to do what you say and say what you mean.
Yeah, that's big. Your word is big.
Yeah,
especially when you're dealing with people that have been through it.
For sure.
Especially kids.
Yep. And it's a job that I got to be, it's helping me be better.
Yeah.
Because what I'm teaching, I'm implementing in my life so the kids can see it. So they won't question me. They like, I seen you do it. So I'm not going to question. I'm just going to trust you.
So tell me what it's like, I guess, talking to, I don't want to say troubled youth, but youth that have been through it, right? How do you relate to them? Like, because I know you've had your past dealt with what you dealt with and your struggles. I mean, do you find it easy to relate to them? Do you find it hard? I mean, what is it like doing that?
I do, man. I was talking to this lady actually in here, and she just said, you can't save them all. And in my mind, I was like, who can't?
Yeah.
Like, who can't? It just takes time. I might get one in a week. I might get one in a day. I might have to go a year, but I'm not quitting on a kid, right? So it's easy for me because I see myself in these kids. I see the mental block. I see the pride. I see the lack of emotion or the lack of knowing how to identify it. So for me, I look at it as a rose in the concrete. I'm one of those, right? I know how to water myself through the cracks. I know how to heal myself when I'm starting to droop. So I just help other roses that came out the concrete with how I got there, with my life experiences. I don't talk about stuff I don't know. I only give them how I got out of my situation, and they can see it.
So you said you go into jails too?
Yeah, man. JDC.
JDC?
Yeah, we've been in Topeka at the Cat, and that's devastating. When you see these young people full of life sitting in there, man, and I love it because I get to go in and try to give them some hope, right? If you give anything hope, you know, they'll keep going. So just trying to help them identify why they are where they are through self-awareness, right? It starts with self. Identify yourself, what's messing you up, and then fix it. So I love it, man. So it is easy for me.
I bet. So I guess what's the hard part about the job?
You can't save them all, right?
Well, there you go.
But I believe I can, but I know I can't. It's just like you can't bring everybody with you on this journey in your life. I want to help every kid, but I can give you the tools for your toolbox, and it's up to you. And hopefully, if I can get that kid to be self-aware enough, they'll take that information.
Yeah.
So
what's next for you? That's you've done a lot, and I know you got bigger goals. So what's next?
I do, man. I love motivational speaking. So my goal is to become one of the best motivational speakers in the world. And like I learned from you when you were sitting in here, you was like, man, I did this. So this is like,
yeah.
So I really care about helping. So I want to be a motivational speaker. I am a motivational speaker.
I can see it.
Yeah. I'm going to be on stages. I'm going to be blessing people with my testimony. And the goal is to help young people come up with me. Right. And vet them and bring them up to tell their stories so somebody that's in their situation can be better.
So, and that's, I wanted to point out a big thing I noticed was, I guess with a lot of people that are successful people, the word I'm going to, not I want to,
right? Like
I'm going to. If you manifest it, it will come, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So if you say I'm going to do something, in your mind you already know, like I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like it might be hard. I might go through challenges and obstacles, but I'm going to do it. But those people that say, man, I want to do this, that first obstacle they hit, like, I guess it ain't for me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I like that. So that's what you want to do, motivational speaking. So give me like your 10-year goal, because I know it's bigger than just motivational speaking.
My 10-year goal, man, is to bridge the gap. And I want to create something that nobody can break, that's going to continue to go. It's like a healing. It's like, if I can call it something, it's healing hurt. If I can create something, a community of people that can just continue this healing of hurt through our younger generation, and not only our younger kids, but older people. What that looks like, I don't know. I got to sit down and design it, but I know in the next 10 years, I want to create something so big that changes lives. And a lot of people look at me and they're like, bro, you crazy? But I'm like, I am crazy. And I do believe that I'm going to create something that's going to be so magnificent and so great that people are going to be like, bro, you did it. I don't know how, but you did it. And that's just having connections like you. You told me sitting over here that you started your journey at the same age I am now. And it took you a couple years, but you reminded me of, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
Because you bought every piece in here, and the details in here, I tell you that, the details is immaculate.
Yeah, every little piece.
You had it before you even bought the building or got the building.
I bought everything on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Everything.
So
I'm a bargain hunter.
You are, man. Yeah.
You wouldn't notice, but I am cheap.
Man, ain't nothing wrong with it. My wife is a blogger. She's a coupon. She started couponing and she started blogging off of that, but she has transitioned into smart shopping, man. Like,
oh, wait. Yeah, let's get into that. Because you said she's a blogger and she does coupon. Because you said you started a podcast for her.
Yes.
So what? We got to give her some.
Yeah,
she's
she's the truth, man.
And we got to give her. So you said she does a podcast too?
Yes. So we were doing the podcast. We're not doing it now. But what she does is, man, she has a blog which is called Pretty Cash Savings Blog, right? She just helps people save their money because inflation does not have.
Yeah, that's something that I would like to do.
Inflation don't got no color, creed. It don't care how much money you have, right? And what she noticed during COVID was how everything was starting to rise, bro. So she figured out, like, it's just time. She figured out that your time can maximize your money if you spend it well, right? So she learned the couponing and she started teaching people little small classes how to clip coupons. But now it's to the point where she shops and money comes back to us.
Oh, damn. I got
it's
to
fire.
learn about this.
Yeah, she's fired.
Are you one of those couple that gets to the cash register, you have about a book of 60 coupons?
We are.
Beep,
yes, we.
beep.
No, it used to be that way. Now everything's electronic. Right. So it's just all organization. Like, we shop on this app where she looks on this app and finds whatever we need on that app. And then she buys it and scans the product and we get the money back It's beautiful. Like, you need waters, right? This app has the waters on there, and it tells you get $5 back on a case of water that's $5.50. Right? Okay. So you buy the $5.50 water, you scan it to the app, they give you $5 back. So the product only costs 50 cents. So it's not what you're spending, it's how you're spending your money. It's not what you spent out, it's how much you saved. So yeah, she's cold, man.
Y'all sound like a power couple.
Hey man, we trying, man. My wife, like I said, she has her own things that she's dealing with, but she's coming out of it great, man. And that's another thing, when you get with somebody else who's going through the same thing, but just in a different way. Not only individually do you have to help yourself, but you got to help your partner. And she did that with me, and I'm doing that with her. So we're learning, like, marriage ain't common where we come from. Yeah. So we're trying to just create a long marriage, a prosperous marriage, and meeting people like you on the way, man. So, yeah, shout out to wifey, man. She's the GOAT. You got to have somebody in your corner that can help you out.
So 2 questions before we end this. First one, if a kid is going through it, you see him in JDC, you see him, you kind of, like, he thinks there's no hope in the world. What are you going to tell that kid?
I love you. A lot of this is a lack of love. Like, the reason why these kids go and get into the things they get into is because the person showed them love. Whatever it is, showed them love. If it's a drug, if it's whatever, it's the first thing that shows a kid love they'll gravitate to.
That's very true.
So I'll tell them I love you, bro. There is a way. You know what I mean? And if they say how, I'll just say, just sit with me. I'll let you know, and that's what I'll tell. Just, I love you, because that's just something a lot of kids don't get shown or told. And that's what I'm noticing. So I just tell them I love them.
So do you stick with them after, let's say they get out? Do you stick with them, keep in contact with them?
I call it, we're a forever program, bro. Because we not only, once you get out, we give you resources to sustain. If we can't help you, we help youth. But we will send you, we got a resource log of people who can help you. So we just, once you get out of here, we then take you there, that then takes you here, and we just keep guiding you, and we keep checking on you. We keep loving on you. We keep making sure you become successful.
So, like, how long have you been doing this for? Like, just working with youth?
Since 2013.
So the reason why I'm asking is there's got to be a success story in there somewhere.
Since 2013. Yeah, there is some success stories, bro. I moved out to Piper, and I was late. I'm learning how to be a real man of the house, right? So I put the trash out late, but the trash truck coming, and I'm running out. I put my stuff down, and all I hear is Mr. Weaver, and I'm like, who calling my name? I just moved out here. It was one of the kids that I used to mentor.
Oh, really?
And he got out. He got a job. He's doing well, man. He was just so happy to tell me his accomplishments. It made me feel great because in that moment, I was like, bro, what am I doing? Am I really making an impact? And then that moment, he was a trash kid, but a trash man, but he took pride in it because he's like, man, I still remember what you told me. Like, don't take nothing for granted and do everything your best. And he was out there throwing it and, enjoying it. So yeah, that moment, man, I won't say his name, but he's a very, 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 very unique kid. And I saw him when he didn't. So shout out to you, man. You know who you are.
Yeah. So. And all it takes is one person.
Exactly.
Literally. Just
exactly, man.
Like you said, you could be working and working and working and you don't see no return. But the minute you see that first return, you're like, okay, oh, man, this is what it's all about. If you could just change one person's life, that's all that matters.
And that's the goal, just to get the one, the power of one. If I can get one, I'm happy, but I want them all.
Yeah. Come on. It's a big task. I know you can do it.
I know, man. We're going to help them all in some way. And whether we say something to you that stick with you for the rest of your life or whether we just help you get through life, we're going to get them.
So going a little bit off topic, but kind of sticking with it, Heartland 180, what is the next, I guess, what's you guys' next big moves
you
can talk about?
Yeah, we just partnered with a great company called Connections to Success. And they have resources. We have resources. So we're just creating this big web of resources, man. And we're not reinventing the wheel. Like, we got good stuff, they got good stuff, and we're just collaborating, man. We're just trying to get as many people on board in the fight because this is a fight. It's a battle. We're dealing with souls. We're dealing with young kids. So we're trying to connect with people. So if you are a company, a nonprofit, or somebody who wants to just give back to a great cause, talk to us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because we can't save them all without the resources. The only way to get help for people is to have the proper resources and relationships. So we're just in the building relationship phase. You know, we're going to everybody's events, networking events. We're just getting our name out there. We had the Meet the Mission recently, which went well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just creating connections, man, and just trying to expand our network. So that's what we're on, man.
So my last question before we wrap it up, and I ask this to everybody: if you could go back in time and tell yourself when you were a kid, teenager, whatever age you want, you can go back in time and kind of, give a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would tell myself I was proud of me. Because growing up, like you said, I kept getting losses and I felt like I wasn't worth it. So now I would go back and be like, bro, I'm proud of you. Pat myself on the back. Like, you accomplished a lot. Like, when you look at society, you don't know you're doing well until you sit down and be like, bro, you actually did this? Good job. Like, you graduated high school, congrats. Like, you left and went to college, good job. So I would tell myself I was proud of myself, I would tell myself you are self-aware, right? You are resilient. So I would give myself more positivity. I would love myself a little more. So I would tell myself I was proud of me.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Kids are missing.
Yeah.
All it takes is just that, I love you, or good job, or I'm proud of you.
That's
that
it.
can go so far.
That's it. I didn't know that until somebody did it to me. He was like, I love you, man. Don't stop fighting. I was like, all right, I won't. I won't fight you, bro. I'm going to receive this. I'm going to take it. Let me see where it goes. And that was when I put my pride to the side. That was the best thing I could have ever did.
Man.
So, I know, man. I appreciate you, man.
Nah, hey, who you want to give a shout out to? I mean, you got this is open to you. Company, your socials, Heartland 180.
I want to give a shout out to my wife, man. Like, she showed me love when I didn't know what it was. Tyrone Weaver, you are the GOAT. I mean, she is, man. I can't give her enough credit. She sacrificed a lot for me and still is. And growing in this journey, I'm enjoying watching her grow. So shout out to wifey. So
yeah, it's been good getting to know you, man. I love seeing people in our community trying to make a difference. Because that's all it takes. Yeah. Because it's very, very hard to get into this field and see the results right away. That's what everybody wants. Yeah. It's a long game.
It is.
It's a long game.
It is.
And it's like people like you that are going to make change. And we just need more people like you to come with you to make change.
Well, I appreciate you. People like you help me, man.
I'm trying, man.
Now, you are, man. By you just doing what you do, you don't know. Like, the power of influence. Like, just seeing you being a black man running an establishment like this.
I appreciate that.
This is opening eyes to a different level. And I appreciate you.
Well, appreciate that,
man. It's dope. I'm telling you.
So you got any social media you want to share? Your pages?
Yeah. Shout out to We Fit Sports. That is my
We Fit Sports. Everybody go follow
company.
it. Yeah. Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram. It's WEFIT Sports with the Z at the end. So we're sports with the Z. So We Fit Sports. And then my wife's blog, Pretty Cash Savings Blog. So yeah, shout out to her. And yeah, that's about it, man.
Man, I see you have even lit your cigar. I'm pointing.
I know, man.
Bro.
It was lit, man. But I am a talker, bro. I get lost in convo.
I'm over here just smoking and blowing smoke in your face. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, man, it went out on me because I am long-winded, man.
It's all good. Hey, I even brought the lighter and everything.
Let me light it back up.
We at the end of the show now. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate you guys sticking with us. Please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow us on all of our social. We got Instagram. We got Facebook. Not yet. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube shows how out of touch I am. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. On the next episode, we have Ryan Mabey. He's the co-owner of Rieger. So check that one out when it comes. Dope. Yeah, we're going to hopefully I'm going to get some taste testers and y'all might see me get a little tipsy on the next show. So we'll see. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned till next time.
Goodbye, everybody.